I have done my, I did my master's in microelectronics, and I'm with TISA from a couple of years. Thank you.
Yeah, Anita. Thank you, Anita. Next, Jitendra, do you want to give your introduction? Jitendra? Guys, I would request everyone to please turn on your video if possible. Okay? ऐसा लग रहा है कि मतलब हम लोग गुमनामी में ऐसे कर रहे थे बात कर रहे थे गुमनामी में okay? Yeah. Jitendra, can you give your introduction? I think he can't hear. Swarnava? Yeah.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. So good morning, everyone. Hi, my name is Swarnava Malik. I'm from Kolkata, West Bengal, the city of joy. And speaking about my academics, I'm pursuing law as my career from National Law College, Kolkata. And speaking about my hobbies, I like to read books a lot, and I also like to watch movies a bit. Yeah, thank you.
Nice, nice. Thank you. Umesh? Can you give your brief introduction? Umesh,
Yes, sir.
can you on your video, please? Yeah.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah,
Okay.
Umesh.
Hello, everyone. I am Umesh Patel. I am from Chhattisgarh, and I have done my graduation in BSc Honors Mathematics from Punjab. And currently, I solve a mathematics problem on the Chegg platform. And currently, I am also preparing for civil service examinations. And my hobbies include watching comedy videos, and I am also interested in uh, in some spiritual things, and and I like and I like watching cricket also. Thank you.
Nice, nice. Umesh. Thank you, Umesh. Sophia, I think is not she's not connected to I think audio. I think Sophia. Sophia, can you hear me? Sophia is not connected to audio. So guys, let me give my brief introduction. For that, Vedant, you can give your brief introduction. Vedant, hi.
Hello everyone, my name is Vedant Pradhan and I have done BTech in Chemical Engineering from NIT Raipur. I am 23 years old and I have just graduated this year. Currently, I am preparing for CAT examinations and I have been associated with TISA from the past 3 months. Like I regularly attend the meetings and talking to strangers on phone. And yeah, I just thought of like uh, seeing that what happens in this presentation today. So yeah, thank you everyone.
Nice, nice. Yeah, so guys, let me give my brief introduction to all of you. Hi guys, my name is Nikhil Iyer. I've been part of TISA since 8.5 years. I'm working in RBL Bank as manager in information technology. My hobbies are reading books, writing blogs, singing, listening old songs, and So guys, let us start our event of presentation. So today we have 4 participants who are going to give their presentations. Let me read out their names who are going to give the presentation. Deepankar Singh, Sophia, Umesh, and Bhavesh Batani. I think we have only Sophia is not connected to audio. I don't know what to think. She has some problem with her Zoom, I think. So, Umesh, do you have your presentation ready? Can you start with your presentation, Umesh? Ready have a
Sir,
presentation?
so yes, sir. Yes, sir. Presentation is ready, sir.
Okay. So आपका टॉपिक है मॉडर्न टाइम मॉडर्न साइंस, राइट? जो स्वामी विवेकानंद जी ने इंट्रोड्यूस किया, राइट? मॉडर्न साइंस,
जी जी
right? Okay, so guys, so Umesh, after you will finish your presentation, we are going to have a QA round where members can raise their hand. They can ask questions to you, okay, and आपको वो क्वेश्चन का आंसर देना presentation के बाद, okay? Try to keep your presentation for 20 minutes, okay? 20 to 25 minutes, okay?
Okay, sir. Okay.
You can start. So
Okay, sir. Okay.
let me make you the host, and or wait. Let me allow you to share your screen.
Yes, sir. I have to share the screen.
Are you able to share your screen? Umesh, where are you? Screen
No,
share?
sir. No. The host can share this.
हाँ, नहीं,
Only host.
एक सेकंड ऑप्शन, एक सेकंड ना उमेश। अभी देखो हो रहा क्या स्क्रीन शेयर?
हाँ सर, हो गया सर, हो गया।
We can't see your screen. फिर से बस एक शेयर करो स्क्रीन। हाँ, अभी देखो।
सर फिर से वो तो गायब हो गया। हाँ सर, ये आ गया।
फिर से करो एक बार, ये करूँ अगेन शेयर स्क्रीन।
हाँ सर, हो गया।
हाँ ठीक है, फाइन। या
सेल्फ हेल्प ग्रुप। सो जब अगर कोई गलती रहता है तो फिर उसके लिए क्षमा करना। सो फ्रेंड्स, सो द क्वेश्चन इज व्हाट इज वेदांता। हम लोग कई बार सुने हैं कि वेदास हैं हमारे हिंदुइज्म का जो भी पढ़ने के लिए किताबें हैं तो वो हैं वेदास। बट ये वेदांता क्या चीज होती है? एक्चुअली वेदांता हमारे सारे वेदास का वो एक समरी है, वो एक निचोड़ है। और वेदांता जो हमारे सारे वेदास का जो समरी है, जिसको हम लोग हमारे पूरे सनातन धर्म या हिंदुइज्म का साइंस भी कह सकते हैं। और जो भी सारे पाथ्स हैं, सेक्ट्स हैं, रिलीजन्स हैं, जो भी हमारे रिचुअल्स हैं, ये सारे साइंस हैं। तो हम सबसे पहले समझते हैं कि साइंस और टेक्नोलॉजी में डिफरेंस क्या रहता है? जो देखिए, सपोज वी हैव द साइंस ऑफ मैन्युफैक्चरिंग मोबाइल फोन्स, and we have different types of phones like Samsung, like Apple, Oppo, or Vivo, or any type of phones. But the science is the same. uh, that is how semiconductor works, how display works, what are protons, so what is kinetic energy. This all are science. Based on this science, we have different technologies and we have different mobile phones. Similarly, when we see the when we see our religion in terms of science and technology, so uh, the science is the Vedanta, and based on this science, we have different uh, uh, we have different yogas like Raj Yoga, Karma Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, and some and and Gyan Yoga. And based on this science, we have different rituals. So this is the difference between science and technology. Now, in our Vedanta, we have some core concepts, and these core concepts are Brahman, Prana, Atman, Maya, and the cycles of life and liberation. So one by one, we will try to understand these terms. Mm, this term. So what is Brahman? In our Vedantic scriptures, this term is defined as the omnipotent and the omnipresent one God, and this Brahman itself is defined as the God. But we have seen that we have different names of God like Vishnu, Brahman, Shiva, or Brahma, or Krishna, Rama, and and all these things. But these all gods are from these Brahman concepts. See, some people cannot see. Some people, for some people, it is very hard to understand this this subtle concept of Brahman. So that is why the so that is why to refer the Brahman, uh, the rishis and the munis have developed the terms, uh, the names of gods in the human form. But those human forms are different from the humans that we know, like like uh, uh, like uh, like Brahma. He has four heads. But but uh, but okay, but now comes Prana. So like this, yeah. Prana. Suppose this is Brahman. Okay. From Brahman came two things. That is Prana and Atman. Okay. Now the quantum physics says that whatever things, जो क्वांटम फिजिक्स कहता है कि जो भी हमारे वर्ल्ड में है, वो सारी चीजें दो चीजों से ही बनी है. कौन कौन सी है? फर्स्ट इज एनर्जी and second is consciousness. This is the term of and these things और ये दोनों चीजें क्वांटम फिजिक्स से ही हमको पता चला है. बट सी, suppose there is suppose there is one table, right? There is a table, and there is one child, and there is some dead man. Okay, there is table, there is child, and there is some dead man. What is the common things in these three things: table, child, and dead man? Table. When we see the table, what is the core things that it is made up of? um, जब हम टेबल के भीतर घुसते जाते हैं तब हमको मिलता है कि टेबल बना है कुछ मॉलिक्यूल्स, कुछ मतलब तो फिर एटम से. बट वो किससे बना है? सब इलेक्ट्रॉन्स, प्रोटॉन से. बट जब जब हम लोग सेम ऐसी देखते जाते हैं तो हम लोगों को एक थ्योरी है क्वांटम फिजिक्स में, स्ट्रिंग थ्योरी, जो कहती है कि हम लोग जब कोई भी मटेरियल को जब देखते जाते हैं और जब हम लोग लास्ट तक पहुंचते हैं तो हमको सिर्फ some energies ही मिलती है. but that is not in the solid form, that is just only in the form of strings. but those are only energies. Similarly, child and dead man. Child and dead man, what is the difference between these two? Child is a body plus some soul or the consciousness, soul or consciousness, or some or some atman. And this dead man is just body, just a body. When you see the body, this body is made up of this energy, because our body is also made up of some proton, some electrons. But these souls make it different from table. Why? Because this body has this consciousness. Similarly, in the Vedantic concepts, हमको भी ये कहा गया है कि ये सारी दुनिया सिर्फ प्राण और बस आत्मन से ही बनी हुई है. और हमको क्वांटम फिजिक्स भी कहती है कि सारी दुनिया सिर्फ एनर्जी और कॉन्शियसनेस से ही बनी हुई है. So we can say that this Brahman is prana plus atman, and these two things come from Brahman. Now, what is Maya? This Maya is nothing but considering the ये माया क्या होता है? हम इसको कह सकते हैं illusion. But what is this illusion? तो हम माया को समझने से पहले हम लोग साइकिल्स ऑफ लाइफ समझते हैं. क्या होता है ये साइकिल्स ऑफ लाइफ? जब प्राणा एंड जब प्राणा एंड आत्मन जब मिलते हैं तो बनता है एक बॉडी. so like male or female. बट ये बॉडी जब इसको मिल जाता है तब ये साइकिल्स ऑफ लाइफ में फंसते जाता है. बट व्हाट इज दिस साइकिल्स ऑफ लाइफ? दिस इज birth and death, then again birth, then death, then birth, then death, then again birth. So this is a cycle. Now comes the concept of liberation. ये लिबरेशन का कंसेप्ट क्या है और क्यों है? ये जो हमारा शरीर है ये बर्थ डेथ के साइकिल में घूमते रहता है. ये साइकिल से बाहर आना ही कहलाता है लिबरेशन. बट ये हमारा जो शरीर है वो तो प्राणा और आत्मन से तो बना है. बट प्राण को तो बाहर आना है कि फिर आत्मन को बाहर आना है. जो हम लोग हमको पहले से ही जब हम लोग तो बचपन से सुनते ही आते हैं कि हम लोग that is we are not bodies, we are soul and we have bodies. So according to Vedantic concepts, we are this Atman, and we have been trapped in these vicious cycles of life. So the ultimate goal of us is to come out of these cycles. So this is the thing. And now, yeah, why do we need liberations? अब हम ये सब चीजें जान चुके हैं कि जो भी हम लोग तो ठीक तरीके से जिंदगी जी रहे हैं, बट हमको लिबरेशन क्यों चाहिए? या जब हम क्लास फर्स्ट में पढ़ते रहते हैं तब हम उसको पास करके सेकंड क्लास में जाना चाहते हैं, फिर थर्ड, फोर्थ एंड सो ऑन. जब तक हमारा गोल रीच नहीं मतलब कर जाते हैं तब तक. एंड सिमिलरली हम लोग जब पढ़ाई करते रहते हैं तो हमारी ख्वाहिश मतलब रहती है कि हम लोग अपना ग्रेजुएशन या पीएचडी मतलब करेंगे. तो वो पीएचडी हमारा सबसे लास्ट तो रहता है पढ़ाई मतलब पढ़ाई के जर्नी में. तो सिमिलरली जो भी हमारा बर्थ डेथ में के फेजेस में हमारा लास्ट गोल क्या रहना चाहिए? वो है लिबरेशन. बट लिबरेशन ही क्यों होना चाहिए? क्यों ना हम लोग तो बार बर्थ फिर डेथ करते रहें? क्योंकि हम लोग जिंदगी सिर्फ प्लेजर्स के लिए ही चाहते हैं. बिकॉज हमको समझता है क्योंकि हम लोग समझते हैं कि जिंदगी सिर्फ प्लेजर्स के लिए है. क्योंकि हमको जिंदगी में खूब तो मजा आता है. बट दिस ऑल प्लेजर्स आर इल्यूजन्स. व्हाई मैं प्लेजर्स को क्यों इल्यूजन्स कह रहा हूं? नाउ सी, साइंस में एक कंसेप्ट है कि all the energies are constant. मतलब क्या है कि दुनिया में जितनी भी ऊर्जा है वो कांस्टेंट है. बट बट वन एनर्जी इज गेटिंग ट्रांसफर्ड टू that energy is getting transformed into another energy. In the same way, जो भी हमको को pleasures तो मिलता है, but that is bound that some bad things will definitely comes. Some so bad things will definitely comes. जैसे कि तो मैंने खाया पिज्जा एक, तो मुझे मतलब खाते वक्त खूब मजा आया, तो मैंने उसको मतलब खूब सारा खा लिया, बट कुछ समय तो बाद कल परसों जो भी फिर इसके साइड इफेक्ट्स जरूर हमको 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 तो मिलेंगे ही मिलेंगे. Now, why do we need to understand Vedantic concepts? Yeah, मैंने पहले ही कहा था कि ये हमारा साइंस है. These Vedantic concepts are the basic science on which our whole religion is based upon, and we have to overcome from these dilemmas and conflicts of life. That is why we need to understand these Vedantic concepts. Now we have these three terms, that is Vedantic and theist and atheist. फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल हम लोग समझेंगे ये थीस्ट क्या होता है. थीस्ट, दैट इज दोस बिलीव इन गॉड, and these are they think that there is a snow god, but the Vedantic concepts say that there is only Brahman. See, suppose there is suppose there is food and there is one man. He wants to वो ये खाना को खाना मतलब चाहता है, चाहे तो वो मतलब चाहे या फिर ना चाहे, जो भी एक खाने में जो विटामिन्स है, प्रोटीन्स है, या जो भी अभी चीजें हैं, एंड हिज बॉडी will definitely absorbed all these things from this food, whether that person is knowing or not knowing. His body will definitely absorb all these things. Same way, whether one thing that there is God or no God, or there is no concept of God, they have the same benefit. Now, what is the essence of Vedantic concepts in this modern times? Like I had said you that all these yogas, paths, sects, or spiritual activities are based on some science, and in our Vedantic philosophies, based on this science, we have developed these four concepts of karma yoga and bhakti yoga, jnana yoga, and dhyan yoga. These. So why these technologies have been developed? Like I had like I have told you that we are prana, and and uh, and this atman, we are trapped in this vicious cycle of birth and death. But our ultimate goal is to reach this brahman. But see, uh, suppose you have the science of making a vehicle, but you need some technology to use those science to drive or ride a car. In the same way, uh, we have these vedantic concepts, but we need some technology to reach these goals. And so our saints have developed these technologies. But the thing which these or these or these or these or these mm, so works, they all, but they all are the same, but different people chooses different paths. But this all the paths lead to the same goals. Okay, friends, so that's it. And thank you. And
Nice and
अगर
wonderful. Was really great. Super it was. So,
सर ये
Dinesh,
मेरा
आपने लाइक जिस प्रकार से आपने ये दिया, मतलब उसको एक आपने it was something new, to all of us. I think आपने इसको एक नया रूप दिया आपने इसको. was something really amazing, and I think it was something which we never heard of, something which I had never heard of about it. Something just amazing, and
sir,
very true also, in between all these things, in the form of a diagram, form of a, like something small things. It was great. Was yeah, Umesh.
सर एक्चुअली मतलब जो भी और ये मेरा पहला प्रेजेंटेशन था सर, तो फिर इसलिए थोड़ा कुछ मतलब क्या डर भी लग रहा था। और फिर मतलब क्या है कि मतलब कि मैंने जो भी कुछ समझा था सर, उसको मैंने मतलब खुद अपने भाषा में जो मतलब समझाने का कोशिश किया था। बट आई डोंट नो दैट वेदर आई हैव मेक यू जो फिर अंडरस्टैंड गुड और बैड सर। लेकिन मतलब तो मेरा बस मतलब ट्राई था सर, बस ये।
No, it was too good, Umesh. आपने अपने जो प्रयास था वो बहुत अच्छा था, और आपने इसको बहुत अच्छी तरह दिया था entire presentation. So guys, do you have any questions to ask to Umesh? Anyone? Just raise your hand and I will ask you to ask, and I will give you an opportunity to ask question. Anyone? Any questions you have to Umesh? तो Umesh, मेरा एक सवाल है आपसे कि मतलब आपको क्या आपने इसके बारे में काफी रिसर्च किया, मतलब आपको इसके बारे में इतना ज्ञान कैसा है, मतलब इसके बारे में इतना सारा ज्ञान कैसे अपने हासिल किया?
यस सर, हाँ सर जब मैं कॉलेज के फर्स्ट ईयर में था तो हमारे रूममेट में एक कोलकाता से भैया थे सर। तो तो वो स्वामी विवेकानंद मतलब जो ना है सर मतलब उनको बहुत फॉलो करते थे सर, और वो उनकी किताबें भी मतलब पढ़ते थे सर। तो बीच बीच में मैं भी उनकी किताबें पढ़ता था सर। तो मतलब ना है पढ़ के मतलब आप मतलब सर जो भी सब चीजें आप जानने का इच्छा हुआ सर, मतलब तो फिर सारे कंसेप्ट्स तो उनके ही तो बुक से ही मतलब सर मैंने मतलब सीखा है सर मैंने। और फिर मतलब कुछ कुछ साइंस भी है सर, उससे ही सीखा है मैंने।
नाइस नाइस, बहुत बढ़िया कहा, बहुत बढ़िया कहा। Wonderful. So guys, anyone wants to ask any question to Umesh, can just raise your hand, or we will move to the next presenter. Anyone? Okay, Umesh, thank you so much for your
Okay, sir.
wonderful presentation. आपका ये
थैंक यू
फर्स्ट टाइम था कि आपने बहुत अच्छी तरह दिया.
सर।
Didn't look like first time for me personally. आपने जो
Thank you, sir.
जो टॉपिक था वो भी काफी अच्छा था, नया था ये चीज कि we all know about this, but ये कुछ आपने जो आज बताया था, it was something new to learn to all of us. And आपने जिस प्रकार से आपने ड्राइंग भी की अपने विशेष में, आपने give it a wonderful thing to do. Thank you.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
So next I would move to Sophia. After Sophia, I will come.
Hello, sir.
Bhavesh. Bhavesh, after Sophia, you can give your presentation. So keep it ready with you, Bhavesh. Okay. So now I'll move to Sophia. Sophia, you can.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning. Good morning. You can share your screen.
Yeah, okay, sir. Sure, sir.
Nikhil, mine will be after Sophia, right?
Right, right. Yes, yes, Bhavesh. After Sophia, it is your turn. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. So.
Okay, so the hello, am I audible?
Yes, yes, yes. It's Sophia. You're audible.
Okay, I'll start. So the topic for my day is how to be a good conversationist. So we as stammerers are not really good socially. So we struggle a lot in making small talk, and to be a good conversationist. And especially me, I'm not really good in making any small talk before I joined the TISA. And since this and since the small talk is a good skill to know, and it's a very good skill where it will help in our life and also in our jobs and in making good meaningful relationships as well. So how to start a great small talk? First, in before we start to say something, we should make sure that we match our mood to the other person, and we have to check whether the person is sad or angry or irritated, and according to their mood we have to start a small talk. For example, if the weather is very hot, you can start the small talk by saying how the weather is very hot, and by sharing a common idea we can start a good conversation, and from a good conversation a good friendship also starts as well. And at the same time we should also make sure to match your tone of speech as well, so that uh, it will help to have a better match with the other person, as the small talk is not about the facts or words, but it's about putting the people at ease and more comfortable with each other. So that is how to create is how to start a small so small talk. So what's a good opening line when you meet people? It can be anything you say, as long as that it's not rude or complaining, as it will form a negative opinion of you. And and it's also important to make sure that your tone is more good and pleasant than your text. As I said before, it's not about the uh, facts or words, but it's more dependent on your tone. And unoriginal remarks, they make a very good bond. As I said before, like how you can say how the weather is good, and at the same time, as I said before, it's very good to match the tone, as like you can't go and ask a person who's hurrying to catch the train about the weather, because it would be very inappropriate. And as I said before, you can say anything to start a conversation, like where they're from, and about where they're going, if they are uh, standing in a bus station or something like that. And to make the people to be more comfortable with you, you can make sure that you and the other person are very similar, and that you have a common ground, which makes the other person feel very safe, and they'll be more open to you as well. How to make people want to start a conversation, and this method is very what to say, like it it takes a lot of courage to stand out from the crowd, and you can stand out from the crowd by wearing something very interesting. Like you can wear something like a unique pen, uh, or an interesting purse, or an outdated glasses as well. Or if you are going to a black and white function or an event, you can wear something very informal, like for jeans and a shirt, because it would make you stand out from the crowd. Even though it has those negatives, it will also definitely attack the person who you want to start a conversation. So if a person wants to talk about the unique pin which you're wearing, then they will come over and they will start a conversation. So in this instance, the initial the initiative to start a conversation, it doesn't lie on you, but it lies on the other person. So so if you are very shy to start a conversation, then you can sure enough be more brave to wear something very unusual, or to have a visual prop on you, which makes the other person come over to you and to start a conversation. And as I said before, if you wear a pin, they can the other person can talk about where you got the pin and why did you get that sort of pin and why that color of the pin. So in various ways, the other person can start a conversation. So it is a very good start of point to start a conversation. And when there's no opening to start a conversation, you can ask the event organizer, or you can be the event organizer yourself, as that will give you a lot more information about the people who attend the event. So in that way, you'll get more contacts and more chances of having a conversation with the other person. Like if you are in a PPT presentation event, by being very attentive to the presentation, you can ask a lot of questions to the presenter after the presentation in such a way it signals to the other person that you are really interested in the PowerPoint presentation and what they have said, which is a very good way to start a conversation and to have a good acquaintance as well. And if you're not the event organizer, then you can ask the event organizer to give a few facts about the person who you want to go and to start a conversation, or you can ask the organizer to introduce them to you. And if you are the one who's to introduce someone, it's also good to talk about the person you are going to introduce in terms of their job, or if they have any special talent as well, as that will also please the other person. And if your introduction helps to have a very good relationship, then that will be a bonus point for from both the people. And when you go to introduce someone, it's good to introduce that person with the story which they have done. Like for example, you can introduce so and so people and say that they have saved someone's life during a fire in the building, or some interesting story like that, which will help them to be more interesting as well. How to meet the people you want to meet. If you don't have any of the other techniques which I've said before, you can simply you can simply be around the person who you want to talk to, and to wait for excuse for you to jump in and to infiltrate the conversation. But even though it is an offhand method, it can be a it can be a will be in the conversation. So someone asks you, well, you should always say
Sophia, sorry to interrupt you. I think your voice is not that audible now. Can you be little loud? Yes.
hello sir, am I audible right now?
Yeah. Please carry on.
Yeah, okay sir. So when someone asks you that question, if that someone is a painter, then you can say that I am so and so, and I'm from Pondicherry, and that place is very famous for oil paintings. So in that way, there's a common ground in between you and the painter about the topic of oil painting. And if you meet a scientist, then you can talk about how you are from the Pondicherry, and how your place has a lot of research universities that study about the marine life. So in that way, you can talk about all of the research opportunities which are in the Pondicherry, and that you will have a common ground with the scientist. And suppose if you talk about research to a painter who has asked you the question, then you won't have any common ground. And in that way, he will be the only person who will be talking. And as it says here, no man would listen to you talk if he didn't know it was his turn next. So it is important in a conversation to let the other person talk as well, and to have a topic of conversation where you both are able to talk. And while being in conversation, the conversation tone should be very sincere, and that you should
Sophia, are you there? There's some issue to end. I think your voice is again not done. Sophia, are you there? Sophia, we can't hear you. She has left the meeting. Let's wait for 2 minutes for her to join, Sophia, and then we can again start. Let's wait for 2 more minutes for Sophia to join. Till that time, if anyone wants to give your, I think she has again joined. Sophia?
Hello, sir. I got a call. That's why I got
Okay.
That's
So
why I
you can,
got disconnected.
okay, so you can again you can share your screen.
Okay, sir.
Yeah, sure. I think you had the 8th slide, Sophia.
When they ask you about your
Can
job,
you zoom the page? Yeah. It
Yeah,
is
okay,
fine.
sir.
It is fine.
Is it fine, sir?
Yes, it is
Okay.
fine. It is fine.
Yeah. So when they ask about what do you do, instead of just saying that you are an engineer, you can also say any information about how you're working on a very good app, which will help you to go to a lot of places in a very cheap amount, and about how you can tap into other people's Wi-Fi for free as well. So that would be a very good way to start a conversation. And And the more you talk about your job, the more information that you give on your side, the more chances for the other person to talk about from that information and to start the conversation. And when you are about to ask sir, someone about their job, if you think that they are unwilling or very uncomfortable to say about their job, then you can, sir, sir, switch the question with what do you do in your time, or in what way do you spend, or in what way do you spend most of your time in. So in that way you give the opportunity to the other person to talk about the job or to talk about an hobby which they are very passionate about. So in this way you will be more of, you will be in a good light in the other person's side, so which will help in setting a tone which is very favorable to you in the conversation, and will also help you to build a very good re- relationship as well. So how to resuscitate a dying conversation? So as you talk about the other person, and as you talk and as you make the small talk, there will be some slip ups where the other person will involuntarily show you or reveal to you a topic of their interest. And and if you are very attentive to take up that topic, then it will be a very good one, as that will ensure that the conversation keeps flowing. And for you to pick up on the topic, you need to be fully present and to be very engaged on the topic. So so as I said before, it's not about the words or facts that you talk, and it's more about the tone that you set. And the more sincere you are in your conversation, which will help you to have a good conversation. And you should also make sure that the other person is knowing that you are into the conversation by making a good amount of high contact. And also make sure that you are and also make sure that you show the other person that you are interested in the topic as well as in them as well, which will make them to open a lot more about them. So and how to enthrall them with your choice of topic, which is them. So this technique is very good, and it is also very simple, as you don't have to talk much, and you should let the other person do most of the talking. In real life, a lot of people, they want to talk a lot, but there is no one to listen to. So when you keep on asking a lot about them, they will for sure reveal a lot about them. So when you ask a question, for example, if you ask a question about where you're from and add on to about how you like and add on how you are from this place and that you love taking long walks in your place, then that will signal to the other person to talk about that place and what is the favorite hobby for them to do in their place. So in that way, as you reveal about you, they will also be inclined to reveal a lot more about them as well. And I say, and you can see in the previous slides about how the conversation is a two-way thing and it's not just a one-way thing like a job interview. We should always make sure that we are giving input from our side as well, and to make sure that and to give a signal to the other person that you are into their conversation, you could repeat what they said in your own words so that they know that you are listening to them. And if and as and if the conversation is dying, you can also ask a lot of why questions. So when you ask the why questions, they will be answering a lot of them, and when they answer that, you can ask a why question from the answer. In that way, you can keep the conversation flowing as well. So and the next technique that we are seeing is the parroting method, and this method can be used when you are very tired and the other person doesn't notice it and keeps on conversing. So when you are too tired to engage in the conversation, by repeating the words that they say gives a false impression that you are listening to them. So when with minimal effort, you can be part of the conversation, and which will which will make the other person think that you are a good conversationist. So this method is also really useful when the other person is very talkative, and when you run out to say something, or when you both run out of topics, by repeating a few sentences or words, it will keep the conversation going with minimal effort from your side. How to always have something interesting to say. So this all just boils down to be very updated with the news channels. So in that way, you can always discuss about any fires or floods or air disasters which happen around the world. And there is a research that says that how the people who are up to date with news are seen as more credible, and and the salesperson who are more in touch with news are found to make more sales as well. And then in a conversation, we should always stay positive. If you are so like if you are in a job interview, you should always say about how you have studied from a top institute and not about how you got rejected in 5 companies. So in all your conversations, it's good to be very positive. And as I said before, you should not be very negative or use any rude or unpleasant remarks as well. Yeah, and thank you for listening to me, and thank you.
Nice, Mujaffer, wonderful. It was too good, amazing. Like we got to learn many new things in this, like how to do a nice conversation with strangers, how to involve a talk. There are like so many aspects of product, something amazing.
Sure.
Yeah. So we have Vineet has raised his hand. So he wants to ask some questions to you. Yes, sir. Vineet, you can ask.
Hey, thanks for letting me speak, Nikhil. Sophia, it was really great.
Okay.
Just one, can you share this PPT somewhere in the chat or somewhere? Like,
Yeah, okay,
there
sure.
were many slides. Yeah, and I find all of those slides very helpful. Like each and every technique that is there in the PPT is very helpful. But I can't help but I have to disagree on one part. Like in one of the slide, you mentioned that the tone with which you speaks is more important than the text, right? That was there, but I don't think like that. Like even now you presented, your tone was important, but equally what the slides content, that was also important, right? So maybe it's for debate or something, but I think it should have equal importance. Like the tone should also, yeah, I mean it should be important, but the text is also very important.
No, actually, in that slide, I meant that, like, for example, when you're making a conversation with someone, actually, as far as I have seen, I think it's the tone which matters a lot when it comes to making the small talk. But the tone is not very important when you make a PPT presentation. So
Okay, you meant for small talk. Okay, got it.
yeah, I meant in small talk. And my PPT was based on a book which is How to Talk to Anyone by Leel Lowndes. And it's a very good book, and it also talks a lot more about how to start a conversation and stuff like that. And I found the book really good. So if you want, I can send a link to it. Is it okay?
Yeah, please do that on the chat. And just one last question. PPT you have created, right? From the book.
Yeah. It's the same
Yeah,
from the
it
book.
seems very hard work from your part as well. Like I thought it was like downloaded and you have prepared it to present, but no, I was wrong. Okay, great.
Yeah, okay, then I think shall I share in okay, wait, okay, sir, I think I'll share with you, sir.
Yeah. So, Sophia, if you have the link of the book, you can just post the link in the group itself. In our Telegram group, you can post.
Okay, sir.
Have the link of the book. So, any other questions from anyone? So, anyone has any other question to ask to Sophia? Or we can move to our next presenter. Sophia, it was really too good, and you can share the link of the book in the group so that others can also read the book.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Sophia. Thank you so much, Sophia, for your wonderful presentation. Thank you. So next, I would move to Bhavesh. Bhavesh is going to talk something about cryptocurrency, right, Bhavesh?
Hi, Nikhil. How are you?
I'm good, Bhavesh. How are you? Hope you're doing well.
I'm doing absolutely great. Thank you so much for asking.
So, Bhavesh, you can
So shall I?
share your screen.
Sure. Is my screen visible? Can somebody please confirm that?
Yeah, Bhavesh.
Yes, yes.
Visible.
Just a second. Okay. So, a very good afternoon, everyone. I am Bhavesh Methwani, and I am going to talk about the very hot topic of today's generation, and which is absolutely about cryptocurrency. So, a guide to cryptocurrency would be so first of all, obviously, I will start by explaining you the concept of cryptocurrency and what cryptocurrency actually is. So cryptocurrency, it is a type of a digital currency where no government intervention is required in order for you to circulate this kind of money across international borders. You can actually transfer money in the form of digital coins, or we can also say that you can transfer your money in the form of digital tokens across international borders without any government regulation or something like that. Cryptocurrency actually it works uh, on a type of a technology which is known as a blockchain technology. So that kind of blockchain technology, it actually works from one server to the other, where the entire transaction is governed or restricted between the two users, and no third party can actually interfere in that kind of transaction. The transaction also is like is free of cost and is very fast, and across international countries and various borders you can transfer your money, and you can use it for various practices like trade market sharing. You can use your cryptocurrency to invest in stock markets as well. And with the more as the as the concept of cryptocurrency is gaining more popularity day by day, uh, like the governments of various countries nowadays, they are regulate they are authorizing and regulating the usage uh, of cryptocurrency accordingly. Now, we actually talked about how did it arise and how to use it. I'll specifically now talk about the types of cryptocurrency. So I'm sure we all have heard about the names of Bitcoin. So Bitcoin is the most popular cryptocurrency, and we are regularly reading about the stock markets of Bitcoin and how the value or the market value of the Bitcoin is very vulnerable, and how it gets affected by some CEO's tweet. Like we can say, and I can quote the example of Elon Musk. So one tweet of Elon Musk can change the entire market share or the market value of Bitcoin, and we have seen that in past. So that is how we are supposed to perceive the usage of these digital currencies, of this cryptocurrency, that these currencies are very vulnerable. And so the following will be the Bitcoin, for sure. Ethereum is the next best thing if you are an avid investor and if you want to invest in these types of digital currencies. Now with as the days are passing and the people across the globe are familiarizing themselves with the usage of cryptocurrencies and what are the different kinds of cryptocurrencies, uh, there is one more cryptocurrency which is gaining popularity amongst the youth specifically nowadays, and its market value is increasing at a larger rate as compared to Bitcoin and Ethereum as well. And that is Dogecoin, of course. So nowadays, the heat of the market is that the more and more number of people, they are wanting to invest their money in Dogecoin instead of Bitcoin and Ethereum, because Dogecoin, we can say that when it entered the market of cryptocurrency, it was taken as a weakling, but slowly it capitalized its assets. It watched the market. It sort of I would say um, what to say. It actually scanned the market entirely, and how Bitcoins and Ethereums are regulating, and how their market values or the market shares are so vulnerable. So Dogecoin actually, it made its regulation in a way that it kind of dodged all those vulnerabilities of market. And of course, there are very many different types of cryptocurrencies as well. Cardano is also one. It is slowly gaining the pace in the market, but not as much as compared to Bitcoin, Ethereum, and nowadays Dogecoin as well. So now the entire talk will be about the regulations on cryptocurrencies across different countries. And this is very imperative and significant for us to look as to how different nations and countries across the globe are watching or are perceiving the usage of cryptocurrencies. So we'll start by the United States of America, the most popular country in the world, and the most popular country in the world is not at all accepting the comprehensive usage of the most popular form of currency nowadays. It is so the fact of the matter is that up till now, United States has no comprehensive regulatory practices to govern or to regulate the usage of cryptocurrency. There is an organization of United States of America, which is known as FinCEN, which actually describes cryptocurrency as just mere money transmitters and nothing more than that. And the International Revenue Service of the United States of America, it describes cryptocurrency as a form of a digital property, not as a real property. They are very clear about the fact that that the cryptocurrency is a form of a digital property, and it cannot be something which you can own on a real basis. Shifting our focus to European Union, of course, the second largest union in the entire world. It was one of the first nations across the globe to actually legally accept the usage of cryptocurrency, but they haven't made specific regulations as of yet in order to circulate it. Talking about the Singapore, of course, Singapore is the first country in the entire world to accept the usage of cryptocurrency full-fledgedly. It passed a law in its parliament also, and the law was Blockchain and Cryptocurrency Regulation Act of 2020, which accelerated, which gave the people of Singapore incentives in order to adopt the usage of cryptocurrency. Talking about Mexico, we all know that Mexico is a member nation of Latin America. It is the only country in the entire Latin America to accept the usage of cryptocurrency, and it levied proper cryptocurrency regulations. Mexican government also introduced and adopted this law, which is known as the FinTech law. And this FinTech law was passed by the Financial Technology of Institutions. It again adopted, regularized, motivated the Mexicans to use cryptocurrency with more enthusiasm and more rigor. Now, we would be talking about that what is the significance and why do we need rules and regulations for cryptocurrency? The first of all, advantages of cryptocurrency, I have already explained you in the beginning, that these are money transmitters. Your money transactions will be at a faster pace, more effective. No government intervention is required. No proper documentation is required. No amount of tedious or cumbersome process which we earlier used to go through. All those processes are not required in order to trade in cryptocurrency. That is the first and the former advantage of cryptocurrency. Now, why there is a need in order for us to regulate the usage of cryptocurrency is because cryptocurrency, as I already mentioned, is not a government regulated form of a currency. It is entirely end-to-end encrypted. So now users across the globe can use it for funding terrorism. They are also using this free form of currency to for money laundering practices. Okay, and so across the globe, if governments wants to increase the safety in order to accept this usage in its full-fledged form, they would have to regulate it in order to prevent money laundering practices, in order to implement financial stability in their nations, and of course, in order to prevent funding to terrorism. Future prospect, of course, is that the blockchain technology is growing at a very fast pace. It is the hot topic in the market, as I mentioned earlier as well. So with lot of innovative economic ideas and innovation which is flooding in the financial markets, I personally believe that the usage of cryptocurrency will be a significant aspect of human economic life in the future as well. Now there is a vicious cycle of the Bitcoin market, and it is like very obvious for us to understand, since again I am reiterating myself that there is no formal government regulation on the usage of cryptocurrency. So unnecessary speculation and fear is inevitable, and it is bound to arise in the market. Because of all that kind of fear and unnecessary speculation, what is happening is that individuals are blindly selling their Bitcoins, because of which, of course, the market value, the market share value of the Bitcoin, it will fall sharply. The market will face all these kinds of instability as far as Bitcoin is concerned. And of course, because of this, everyone is going to panic, whosoever has invested his or her hard earned money in this market. So it's a vicious cycle which we need to prevent in order to regularize the usage of Bitcoin. Future, I already talked about the future. Technically speaking, I personally believe that Bitcoin should be regulated by the government agencies, because see, we accept the fact that whenever any kind of government is involved in these kind of mechanisms, it just makes the entire mechanism slow, ineffective, and cumbersome or tedious for all of us. But the fact of the matter is, if we actually have to secure the future of cryptocurrency, specifically in India, we have to implement proper regulatory bills in the parliament. We have to, so our government should focus on better planning uh, in order to introduce or in order to motivate the individuals to invest in the market. Because to be really honest, we all know that this kind of market is not yet as a legal tender money in our country. But as the youth population specifically is increasing its usage, and youth comprises the majority of our country, the government have to regulate it. Uh, Otherwise, we will be left behind as far as the entire global economic market is concerned. So with that, I would like to end my presentation. Thank you so much for hearing me and bearing with me for this long. If you have any questions, then I'm open to your queries.
Wow, Bhavesh, it was really amazing that presentation, and you know, we have learned so many things about cryptocurrency, which is like, going to become the near future for the entire world, and like, you have like excellent knowledge about it, and thank you for enlightening us.
Thank you, Nikhil, for your kind words.
So, guys, anyone has any questions to ask you, Bhavesh? You can just raise your hand. Shalom, you want to ask me a question?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
please
want
ask.
to ask a question to Bhavesh. Bhavesh, uh, how the value of cryptocurrency is decided? Means what are the deciding factors? Is it only based on the demand and supply, or is there any other way also we can decide the value of cryptocurrency?
That is a very good question, Shalaf. So the fact of the matter is that the value is very vulnerable nowadays. We have seen in the past as well how small tweets by the company CEO can change its entire market structure and can change the market value. So for now, the market value is entirely dependent upon the demand and supply. Because it is vulnerable, no official authority or a body is regularizing its usage. So it's entirely dependent upon upon the demand and supply curve. There would be some technical aspects of the market value which right now I'm not aware about. As far as my knowledge is concerned, I truly know that it is entirely governed by the demand and supply, because there is no official body which is governing the usage of it.
Okay, so at last, you have also shared that in the future, government is going to regulate and control the cryptocurrency. So, in my view, if a government could choose or to control the cryptocurrency, then it would be like any normal central bank. So, when the government has full control, then the craze and hype of cryptocurrency will go down, because we all know that the government will not where their money is going, and if the government is going to control that, then they would go in the routes, in the details, where this money is going, what are the fundamental of cryptocurrency. So I think this would be the sharp fail of cryptocurrency if the government selects or choose to control it.
I would vary from your opinion, and I would have to disagree upon that. So the thing is that the government regulation is required and it is significant in order to prevent the disadvantages of cryptocurrency. See, for the legal tender money, if we have to circulate our rupees in America, we would first have to get it converted into dollars. If we are traveling to Japan, and if we have to sell something in Japan, and if we have to make a transaction, we will have to do it in dollars or in yen. So we have to abide by the rules and regulations of specific countries in order to deal with the legal tender money. But as far as cryptocurrency is concerned, whatever is the value of Bitcoin in India, the same will be the value in America, Europe, Australia, New Zealand, and everywhere around the globe. The government would be just preventing the malpractices like the funding of terrorism or the financial instability. But if I am sitting in my state, Rajasthan, and if I have to make a transaction with a person who is sitting in Australia, I can directly send him a Bitcoin without worrying that I will have to first check the conversion rates or something like that, which we normally do in order to circulate the rupees into dollars or something like that. So government regulation is required in order to prevent the malpractices, but I don't think it will take away from the very essence of the usage of cryptocurrency. I hope that answers your question, Shalabh.
I am not completely agree means, but yeah, it's okay. I think
Yeah.
that cryptocurrency are made for the dark web and where this thing happens. And if everyone can know, means if the government knows where this money is coming from and what's the actual the roots of the crypto, then the essence will go down. Yeah, it's okay, but thank you for answer.
Thank you for asking a question.
Let's
I guess
give it-
Sophia also had a question
Yeah. So
earlier.
yeah, first we go to Sophia and then we'll go to Umesh. Sophia, you can ask.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So from my observation, to make a good profit in crypto, it seems it's not about the amount of money that you invest, not about the crypto which you invest in, but it's more about the timing that you have to get right. So how do you get the timing right?
How do you get the timing right? By gaining as much knowledge as you can from the market, I guess, and it all depends upon how your brain works at that point in time. So I personally do not invest in cryptocurrencies, but very many of my friends, they do, and whenever I ask them, they're just like, we want to invest in those cryptocurrencies which are not doing well at uh, at this very right moment, because the chances are those cryptocurrencies are going to increase its market value in the near future. And the fact of the matter is, it all depends upon your intuition. If you know it is going to do well, you're gonna invest that, and of course with experience and practice you get the timing right. But there is no technical answer for that question if you are looking for that, Sophia.
Okay, yeah, okay, fine.
It all depends upon the experience, I guess, and with practice you get better. You have this sense of intuition that when to invest and how to invest and how much to invest and in which company to invest. So it's all about the practice, and repeated failures also. It will be a great learning for any investor.
Yeah, okay. Actually, that answered my question. So yeah, and thank you for answering.
I'm glad. Thank you for asking a question, Sophia.
So next, let us move to Umesh. Umesh can ask a question. Umesh, Umesh, आप पूछ क्वेश्चन, सवाल पूछिए.
हाँ सर, हाँ सर,
कि तुम्हें सर ये जो हम
आपका
लोगों को जो फिर आज के पेपर में छपा था कि क्रिप्टो पर युवाओं को भटकाना बंद करे, और हमारी जी कहा था कि क्रिप्टो करेंसी निवेश पर भारी रिटर्न के भ्रामक दावों पर चिंता जताई है, जो युवाओं को मतलब गुमराह कर रहे हैं, और फिर से जुड़े विज्ञापनों पर लगाम के लिए मजबूत नियामक लाए जाने के भी संकेत दिए हैं, और क्रिप्टो करेंसी से जो भी मनी का जो रहता है, और फिर फंडिंग मतलब तो रहता है, फिर इसका भी हमको कुछ करना पड़ेगा। और हमारे देश के गवर्नर ने कहा था कि क्रिप्टो करेंसी को लेकर हाल ही में रिजर्व बैंक के गवर्नर शक्तिकांत दास ने कहा था कि यह देश की वित्तीय स्थिरता के लिए गंभीर खतरा है। तो सर, आप इसके के बारे में क्या कहेंगे?
भावेश.
Okay, so
मतलब सर, तो मतलब इसके बारे में आप क्या कहेंगे आप?
first of all, it seemed like a journalist is asking me a question, and I don't know how to dodge that one. But thank you so much, Yomesh, for asking that research-based question from an article. So I am an economics student, and so as an economics student, I know for a fact, and I have studied the 200 years history of economics, and we have been taught that the money, the usage of money, it starts from the people and it ends at government, right? This has been the history of economics from the past 200 years. Now cryptocurrency is obviously not ending at government. It is between a particular user to another particular user. Now, when our government is not under the situation of regulating it as it would want to be, right? They will choose to project this kind of propaganda that we should not be deviating our youth from the usage of this cryptocurrency, because they know for a fact that if this will be regulated and if this will be motivated, then the entire population will switch over to this, because first of all, it's very fast, efficient, and we do not require any kind of documentation process, right? So government, they, from my belief, they just don't want us youth to get influenced under this kind of market, and they don't want to lose onto their power. They want to be the authority and to be the ones to be able to control over the money matters at least. So I believe, and we all know how NDA government works. They work on the propaganda. So it is just another propaganda by the government. But I believe the change is imperative, and this kind of change our country cannot avoid. If they will be avoiding this kind of change, they will be lacking behind in very many things, and we would not be able to compete with any other country economically, because all the other countries are actually they are thinking to adopt this. They are making their laws, and here our prime minister is saying that we should not be deviating our youth. So it's just a mere propaganda according to me.
So,
Okay. So
yeah. Sorry, you must
yes, sir.
yeah. Hey, Umesh.
Okay. So can we say that now cryptocurrencies are so maintained by big wealthy persons like like मस्क भाई क्योंकि कुछ देर मतलब कुछ महीने पहले बिल गेट्स ने भी कहा था कि क्रिप्टो करेंसीज आर नॉट गुड फॉर द फॉर द गुड सिस्टम क्योंकि जिनको फायदा दिख रहा है बस वही लोग क्रिप्टो करेंसीज को ठीक बता रहे हैं तो बट सेम पर्सन्स आर नॉट शोइंग द डार्कर साइड्स ऑफ क्रिप्टो करेंसीज so why should we also not focus on the darker sides क्योंकि तो बिल गेट्स ने भी कहा था मतलब यार कि क्रिप्टो करेंसीज ठीक नहीं है
So if you were listening me while I was presenting my presentation, there was a part where I mentioned the disadvantages of cryptocurrencies as well. And I specifically mentioned that there are 3 to 4 disadvantages associated with its usage. The first of all would be the funding to terrorism. It is very easy. Money laundering practices have been happening across the globe, and the financial instability of any government market. Now the fact is that the Bill Gates and all these capitalist companies, of course they would see, we all are wise and mature enough to understand that these big businessmen are associated in sort of a contract with our governments, and these capitalists they fund our governments for their election purposes, rallies, and in return of those things, our government, they provide necessary assets and resources and help to these capitalist companies. So these capitalist companies, of course, will say the words of the government, if you know what I mean, right?
Yeah, I understood.
These capitalist companies are speaking the words of our government, and they are afraid and scared that what if the entire regulation would be just governed by the demand and supply and not by any authority, which up till this point in time they were controlling, right? So they are just afraid. They are also in a vulnerable situation that what if the entire population of the earth is now the masters of the money and not us, which cryptocurrency is envisioning to achieve. I believe, it's my personal opinion. I may be completely wrong, but it's my personal opinion.
So,
okay
Bhavesh,
thank you
Bhavesh, what do you think? How this RBI and other banks are like going to manage this? So now the RBI governor himself is saying that yes, but in future it may be different, because most of this government bodies, they always criticize, when something new comes, so there's been a trend, right from ages. But में उन लोग खुद ही मतलब adapt करेंगे when others would adapt. So actually banks, like how would they manage it in the future, according to you?
I guess you answered your own question, Nikhil. See, the fact is that I already talked about Singapore and Mexico. Mexico. Those two nations have completely adopted it, and they have regularized the the usage of cryptocurrency with their proper measures. So now slowly what is happening is that it is the hype in the people which will force the governments or the banks to impose necessary restrictions and regulations on its usage. With many countries adopting to this kind of setup, India will be forced to adopt to this situation. Otherwise, we will be lacking behind economically, which we already are, and the future will be more darker for us as far as economic stability is concerned. So I guess these all statements are just propaganda statements and facade which our government is trying to impose upon. But I don't think that, I mean, it's just a matter of time. Like, change is the only constant. They will have to adopt to this change, whether they like it or don't like it. It's just as simple as that.
I agree.
And I guess RBI is very much controlled by our government. So whatever our government will say, they will be in the synergy of that, and whatever RBI will be saying, the government will be supporting that. So it's all, interconnected. They are not independent bodies anymore, and we all are aware about the reality.
Correct. Yes. I think even same happened with GST also, when it came at the start, like, everyone was saying EQ, they were opposing it, but then they had to adapt ultimately. So something
Exactly.
becomes, people do just a lot, but then ultimately they have to adapt accordingly. But after the change they have to do, they have to bring the change. That's what I believe.
Exactly.
And I think it's what is going to happen also. Maybe after 2 years, 3 years, they have to do it.
Right, absolutely right.
Thank you again for a wonderful presentation. It was really amazing, and also the way people asked you questions also, it was excellent. Shalom, Sophia, Umesh, you asked wonderful questions, and I think Bhavesh answered all your questions excellently, I think.
Thank you so much, Nikhil.
So guys, this officially ends Ashram meeting presentation today. Because I think Anita and Deepankar would give this thing next week, presentation next weekend. Yeah. So thank you so much, guys, for joining the meeting, and have a great Sunday.
Thank you so much, Nikhil, for having us over here.
Thank you, sir.
And
Thank you.
everyone, do take very good care of yourselves and have a happy Sunday. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye.